Thank you. I'm Adrian Gill, as you've heard, Chief Engineer of Vestas Blades. I was reading an article recently that argued that climate change action should be delayed, and that members of the UK governing party had created a net zero scrutiny group. What is there to scrutinize? Climate change is no longer being debated. It's proven. Over the last decade, there are 88,000 scientific studies on climate change. 99.9% of them concluded it was driven by humans. Instead, we need to be talking about how urgent it is. We need to talk about what we're going to do about it. We need to talk about how our lives will irreversibly change if we don't act now. And we know that because the data is out there. Scientists use models to predict the climate. These computer models take the different things that affect the climate, volcanoes, solar flares, carbon dioxide, methane, and they use them to predict how the climate will react. And you can turn on and turn off these different effects to find out what's driving change. And if you turn off the humans, leaving just the natural effects, the climate stays as it is. But if you turn on the humans, the temperature ramps up aggressively and it keeps going. What really worries me is what happens next. That we see out-of-control climate change. That we see irreversible climate change. The ocean absorbs carbon dioxide. In fact, the ocean and other carbon sinks absorb the majority of human carbon dioxide, concealing the true scale of climate change. How long do we think that's going to happen? Permafrost in the Arctic. It also absorbs carbon dioxide. But when it melts, it releases methane, 25 times more heating than carbon dioxide. And as global temperatures are rising, that permafrost is starting to melt. And in the ocean, there are 1 trillion tons of methane hydride, frozen, locked in by the cold water. As sea temperatures increase, that methane will start to come out. You can see that we are accelerating towards the edge of the cliff. We have to act now. We have to stop burning fossil fuels. We have to move entirely to clean energy. There is so much at stake here. For you, for me, our sons and daughters, our grandchildren. But the change needed is difficult. I understand that. You read in the newspaper that green energy is expensive, intermittent, ineffective. But it's not true. Green energy, wind and solar, is the cheapest way to generate electricity. Cheaper than coal, cheaper than gas, cheaper than nuclear. It's wind and solar that are keeping your bills down. But bill payers don't hear this. They just read in the newspaper that things are going up. In the UK, the annual energy bill has near doubled from £1,200 to £2,000. That's driven by gas. And the crisis in Ukraine is only going to make that worse. But green energy is being blamed for that increase. And oil and gas lobby groups are advocating for more fossil fuels on that premise. It's completely wrong. A recent study showed that the annual gas bill in the UK would not be $2,000 per year. It would be $3,000 per year if it wasn't for green regulation. And those same oil and gas lobby groups, right now, they're trying to exploit the crisis in Ukraine to argue for an expansion of fossil fuels. This is immoral. The Russian state gets more than 1/3 of its revenue from oil and gas. It's oil and gas financing the war in the Ukraine. The solution is not to buy gas from a different dictator. The solution is not to buy gas. If we want to stop climate change, if we want to reach net zero, which we have to do, we have to stop fossil fuels full stop. We have to decarbonize the entire world. Transport, housing, industry. This is the green electricity economy, and it's happening right now. When I started work 15 years ago, wind and solar were expensive and they were subsidized. Between them, they contributed a couple percent to UK electricity. Now, in 2022, wind alone provides a quarter of the UK's electricity, more than coal and nuclear together. And solar adds another 10% on top of that. Green energy is growing. By 2018, wind and solar had installed its first terawatt of generation. That's enough power to power the UK, the whole of the UK, 10 times over. It took 40 years to get there. The next terawatt of generation of wind and solar will be installed at the end of next year, just 5 years later. And the next terawatt after that, maybe 2 years. Wind and solar are mainstream because they're cheap and plentiful. Over the last 10 years, the price of solar has dropped by a factor of 10. If that was applied to automotive, your family car, your brand new family car, would cost no more than £1,000. And modern wind turbines, like the turbines that we make on the Isle of Wight, they are incredible machines. The offshore turbines we design right now, each one can power 20,000 houses. A single rotation of these turbines provides enough electricity for a Tesla car to drive 180 kilometers. One single rotation of that turbine, and you can drive 180 kilometers. That's incredible. Green energy is growing exponentially because it's cheap, it's reliable, and it's scalable. Green energy is ready to power the world. 10 years ago, electric cars were 50 years away. Nobody told Elon Musk. In those 10 years, Tesla, his company, sold more than 500,000 electric cars. Today, even Porsche will sell you an electric car, although there are plenty of cheaper options available. They are convenient. You no longer need a driveway. A modern electric car has a range of more than 300 kilometers. If you wanted, you could fill it up once a week. But why do that? Go to the cinema, top it up. Go to the supermarket, top it up. Go to work, top it up. Filling up your electric car will be no different from charging your phone. Park, plug in, go do something. Come back to a car that's fully charged, ready to go, warm and demisted in winter, cool in summer. And if you're taking a long journey, ultra-rapid chargers can add 100 miles to the range in the time it takes to get a coffee, go for a walk. Electric cars are also changing how the grid operates. If 2010 was the decade of green energy, 2020 will be the decade of storage and a smart grid. Electric cars, batteries on wheels, they will talk to the grid. They will know when electricity is cheap and the best time to charge your car. And when demand and prices are high, your car will sell electricity back to the grid to balance the demand and make a profit for you. And these changes, they'll apply to houses too. That's the next revolution. Like cars, your fridge, your freezer, your washing machine, they too will be talking to the grid. You won't even realize that they turned off temporarily to help the grid manage a spike in demand. And heat pumps, they'll be watching fluctuations in the price of electricity to heat your house at minimum cost and maximum efficiency. And the green electricity economy is not just limited to batteries and the grid. This is known as power to X. It is simply a reality that some energy users aren't a natural fit for batteries. Power to X provides the opportunity to decarbonize the rest of the world. And it's based on known technology. Simply put, when there's a surplus of electricity, that green energy will be used to make hydrogen, ammonia, methanol. These can be stored, transported, and used by energy users that batteries can't reach. Air travel, international shipping, chemical industries, steel, fertilizer. You will still be able to buy mangoes in the middle of winter. You will still be able to buy what you want. You will still be able to go and visit family in other countries. Life will be the same, except powered by clean, green, low-cost energy. You can see that a world without fossil fuels is not only possible, it's better. So what are we waiting for? If not now, when?